You're watching Moms Matter here at EverTalk TV, and we have Pamela Saltzman back in the studio. She is an incredibly organized chef who is going to help us figure out how to get protein into all of our meals. So welcome back to the studio.
Oh, thanks. This is one of my favorite topics.
I mean, this is a huge topic that I think we are all really challenged with because I think many of us are moving towards steering away from animal protein. And even if we are eating animal protein, how much of it do we need and how do we get it into our diet, especially with picky eaters?
Right. I mean, it's the thing. I mean, first of all, I want everybody just to just chill out a little bit about the protein because there really isn't like a protein deficiency in this country. Okay, so that's number one. And then also we have to think about the quality of protein. So not all protein is created equal. That said, you do raise an important question, which is, well, how much does everybody need? And, women that are our age at our activity level, we really don't necessarily need as much as like a 15-year-old boy or an Olympian or, even like a man. So for somebody like us, we're looking at like 40, 45 grams of protein a day. And if you kind of think to yourself, well, what does that even translate to? Well, an egg has like 7 grams of protein, and even broccoli has a gram or 2 of protein. Beans have a ton of protein. Like you could get like 15 grams of protein and, like a cup of beans and lentils. So I think there's this misconception that you can only get protein from your animal flesh, right? Your chicken, your fish, your beef, and that is just not accurate. You can get protein from almost anything. So you can get protein from, like I said, cruciferous vegetables, from legumes are a huge source of good quality protein that come with a lot of fiber too. That's something that we're actually missing out on. So if you can get protein with fiber, that is a huge win-win. So I love using lentils and beans, and you can buy them already cooked. So you can throw those into salads and soups and on pastas, and you can puree them. And I've even snuck beans into smoothies, like white beans into smoothies.
Wow.
I've made brownies with black beans. I've made pretend like raw cookie dough with black beans. I've made coffee cakes with white beans. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with it.
Wow.
Don't forget about your nuts and your seeds. So I know that can be a challenge for some families if the schools prohibit nuts from, being in the lunch boxes. But at home, nuts and seeds carry a ton of protein. And it's not just peanut butter and almond butter.
Right.
We have to look past that. There's this whole world out there of things like tahini that you could add into dressings and sauces. And again, I've used it in dessert. Tahini is a sesame paste. Not only does it have a ton of protein, but it comes with so much calcium. So if you're not doing dairy and you're trying to figure out where to get your calcium from, I mean, dark green leafy vegetables are great, but tahini has almost more calcium than anything.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. Hemp seeds are a fantastic overlooked source of usable protein with a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. And same goes for flaxseed and chia seed. So how do you use those? Well, hemp's really easy because you can just toss that on top of a salad. You can put it on top of your smoothie bowl, mix it into your oatmeal. It tastes kind of nutty, right? You can blend it into pesto instead of using a nut, right? So hemp to me is amazing. I mean, a lot of families like to do smoothies for the kids. That is the easiest way to sneak
Throw it all in there.
Throw it all in there. So, and collagen is something that a lot of people are starting to use, and that is not vegan. Obviously, it comes from an animal, it comes from a cow. But collagen peptides, it's you just take a scoop, you can throw it in water, and you're getting, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 17 grams of protein, I think, in one scoop of collagen, which is a lot considering if you're talking, you and I only need 45 grams and you put that scoop of collagen even in your coffee,
you're good to go.
You're like almost halfway there.
So you're saying for people, at our age, at our activity level, we don't really need to be having protein at every single meal, which we feel like we do. We don't.
I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of protein. So here's, I think, where you bring up a really good point is that, some people are like all or nothing. So I guess I don't need any protein at breakfast. I could just front load it all at a different meal. But protein does give us this satisfied feeling. And it also is a slower to digest nutrient than something like a simple carbohydrate. So
Right.
protein really helps us feel fuller for longer. It gives us, again, that satisfaction. It regulates our blood sugar a little bit better than just eating carbs. So I do like to have protein at each meal, but it doesn't have to be a lot.
Right.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be an entire chicken breast. I haven't eaten an entire chicken breast in years. So when I do eat animal protein, I might be eating 2 ounces where it's just like kind of chopped up into small pieces, or maybe it was ground up and it's within a sauce, or it's in a lettuce cup mixed with other vegetables and cauliflower rice. So I think we just have to retrain the way our brains think about protein. So yes, if you feel like having chicken, great, but you don't have to have 12 ounces
And I think
at
that's
one sitting.
the biggest flaw that we have and the misconception. And I think you're absolutely right. And that's such a great thing to know, especially for our children as well.
Yeah.
So they need more protein than we do, but that doesn't mean that they need to eat an entire steak at dinner.
Right. And there's so many sources of protein. I mean, I didn't even mention things like eggs and dairy, which have a ton of protein. And then there's your whole soy family, which technically is part of your legumes. But, you've got tempeh, you've got tofu, so those are edamame. Those are great sources of protein too. There's protein pretty much everywhere you look, but you just have to know how to incorporate it best into your meals. Now, if you're also talking about being a vegan, a lot of vegans do have trouble with, for example, getting vitamin B12. They may not necessarily have trouble getting protein because it's, like I said, I just showed you a lot of plant-based sources, but that's something that you need to think about as well. Again, whole nother subject.
And then is there a place on your website where we can go and find some high protein meals that you've prepared? And some
Definitely.
recipes and things?
I mean, definitely. I do a lot of plant-based recipes. And even if I have a recipe that incorporates animal protein, again, my portion sizes for animal protein are a little bit smaller than I think like the typical American plate, right? But I have a ton of legume-based and whole grain-based dishes and recipes. And yeah, lots of ways to incorporate protein there.
Love it, love it. As always, you are a wealth of knowledge, and thank you for making us healthier and teaching us how to make our families healthier, because it's so important.
It's about paying it forward, right?
Yes. Well, we much appreciate it.
Thank
you
you
so much for coming back to the studio.
I love being with you. Thanks.
And you saw it right here on EverTalk TV, Pamela Saltzman, and all her fabulous tips on how to get healthy proteins into your diet. You can check her out on PamelaSaltzman.com, also on her Instagram account. And we will see you all next time right here at EverTalk TV.